Welcome back. Today we have a picturesque word, the establishment of a medical entity, an important humanitarian and multilateral treaty, a birthday, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's have a look. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for July 27th. July 27th is the 208th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 209th in leap years, with 157 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is cameo. Cameo is usually a noun and is occasionally used as a verb. As a noun, cameo's oldest meaning is a small piece of jewelry or decorative art carved in relief so that the design is raised above the background. Traditionally, cameos depict a portrait or figure, often a woman's profile, and are carved from materials with contrasting layers, such as shell, agate, or onyx. An example sentence could be, she inherited an antique cameo brooch from her grandmother. From the idea of a small distinctive portrait, cameo developed several figurative meanings. In theater, film, and television, a cameo or cameo appearance is a small, usually memorable role, often played by a famous person. Alfred Hitchcock, for instance, became famous for briefly appearing in many of his own films. An example sentence there could be, the director makes a cameo near the beginning of the movie. The jewelry meaning came first, though. The theatrical sense developed much later from the notion of a cameo as something small but finely defined and noticeable, rather like a tiny carved portrait. Cameo can also describe a brief but vivid appearance or depiction of someone or something. You might encounter a phrase such as a charming cameo of village life, where cameo is a short literary sketch or portrait. You'll occasionally hear cameo used as a verb, as in, the actor cameoed in the final episode. That simply means to make a cameo appearance. So, as you can see, the connection among all these meanings is that a cameo is something small that nevertheless stands out. Whether it's a tiny portrait carved into a shell or a famous actor appearing on screen for 10 seconds, it's a little appearance designed to catch your attention. The word cameo comes to us from Italian, where it meant an engraved or carved gem. Various theories have connected it with medieval Latin, Arabic, or earlier Mediterranean words, but etymologists haven't established an ultimate source with great confidence. The very first known use of the word cameo is in the 1200s, with various meanings and usages evolving later. Cameo. Today's word cameo was requested by friend and viewer Adam Bauer. Thanks, Adam. And if you have a word you'd like to see in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll get it on the list. And with that, the United States Army Medical Department, commonly known as AMEDD, AMED, traces its beginnings all the way back to the American Revolution. On July 27, 1775, shortly after fighting began, the Second Continental Congress established what it called the Army Hospital. Its purpose was to organize medical care for the Continental Army, and it was placed under the direction of Director General and Chief Physician. This early organization became the ancestor of both today's Army Medical Department and the Army Medical Corps. The Army did not maintain a permanent medical department during peacetime at first, though. Medical organizations were generally created when war or emergencies made them necessary. That changed in 1818 when Congress established a permanent medical department. Over the following 2 centuries, Army medicine expanded far beyond military physicians, adding the Army Nurse Corps in 1901, the Dental Corps in 1911, and the Veterinary Corps in 1916. The Medical Service Corps developed from organizations created during World War I, and the Army Medical Specialist Corps was established in 1947. Today, AMED encompasses 6 specialized officer corps: medical, nurse, dental, veterinary, medical service, and medical specialist. Its personnel include not only doctors and nurses, but dentists, veterinarians, pharmacists, physical therapists, physician assistants, laboratory scientists, medical administrators, combat medics, and many other specialists. Its Latin motto, Experientia et Progressus, means experience in progress, a fitting description for an organization whose history stretches from makeshift Revolutionary War hospitals to modern military medicine around the world. The convention relative to the treatment of prisoners of war, better known more simply as the Geneva Convention on Prisoners of War, was signed in Geneva, Switzerland on July 27, 1929, to go into effect in 1931. It was an important milestone in international humanitarian law because it established detailed rules for the humane treatment of soldiers captured during war. The convention grew largely out of the experience of World War I, when millions of soldiers had been taken prisoner. Earlier agreements, particularly the Hague Conventions of 1899 and 1907, contained rules concerning prisoners, but World War I demonstrated that those protections were often inadequate or unclear. The International Committee at the Red Cross helped develop a more comprehensive agreement devoted specifically to prisoners of war. Under the 1929 Convention, prisoners were to be treated humanely and protected from violence, reprisals, collective punishment, and degrading treatment. It also established rules concerning food, housing, medical treatment, correspondence with families, prisoner labor, discipline, and organization of prisoner of war camps. Prisoners could choose representatives to communicate their concerns, while neutral protecting powers and the Red Cross could help oversee their treatment. The convention became especially significant during World War II when it provided the principal international framework governing the treatment of prisoners of war among countries that had ratified it. However, its protections were far from universal in practice. The enormous suffering and abuses experienced during that war demonstrated the need for stronger and more comprehensive rules. As a result, the 1929 agreement was replaced and greatly expanded by the Third Geneva Convention of 1949, which remains the principal international treaty protecting prisoners of war today. The International Committee of the Red Cross describes the 1929 agreement as the first multilateral treaty devoted specifically to protecting prisoners of war, making it an important step toward the modern principle that even in warfare, captured enemies retain fundamental human rights and dignity. This is the birthday of singer and actress Maureen McGovern. Born Maureen Therese McGovern on July 27, 1949 in Youngstown, Ohio in the U.S., she grew up in a musical family with her father singing in a quartet. She began singing at age 3, and by age 8, she had already decided she wanted to become a professional singer. Her big break came in an unusual way. While working as a secretary and singing part-time with a folk group called Sweet Rain, McGovern recorded a demo that caught the attention of record executive Russ Reagan. In 1972, Reagan was looking for someone to record The Morning After, the theme from the disaster movie The Poseidon Adventure. He hired McGovern without even meeting her. Her recording became a sensation, reaching number 1 in 1973, selling more than 1 million copies and earning her a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. She soon became closely associated with movie music, recording We May Never Love Like This Again from The Towering Inferno and Can You Read My Mind, associated with Superman. In 1979, she scored another major success with Different Worlds, the theme from the television sitcom Angie. She also demonstrated a flair for comedy, appearing as the singing nun, Sister Angelina, in Airplane in 1980. She moved into musical theater, making her Broadway debut in The Pirates of Penzance and later appearing in productions including Nine, The Threepenny Opera, and Little Women. Ms. McGovern retired from touring in 2022 after a performing career spanning more than half a century, Maureen McGovern. So today's song is The Morning After by Maureen McGovern. This song was written by 20th Century Fox songwriters Al Kasha and Joel Hirshhorn as the love theme for the 1972 movie The Poseidon Adventure, which was one of the all-star disaster films that were popular in the early to mid-70s, including Airport, Earthquake, and Towering Inferno. The Poseidon Adventure was released in December of 1972, and in the movie, the song is performed by the character of Nani, played by actress Carol Lindley, but actually sung by vocal double Renee Armand. In the movie credits, the song appears simply as the song from the Poseidon Adventure. It won Best Original Song at the 45th Academy Awards, and after this success, Maureen McGovern recorded the song as a single, which was released in May of 1973 and became a hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August of 1973, and also charting in the top 10 in other markets around the world. The Morning After by Maureen McGovern. Link in the description. How about that? Some of today's topics reminded me of new beginnings, and the quote I found along that line is one from Anne of Green Gables by Canadian author L.M. Montgomery. And it is, "Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet?" L.M. Montgomery. All righty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time.